So, Bill, you've been doing online PR before we even really knew what online PR was, huh?
I guess so. I guess so. And what I'm learning more and more today is that the people in content marketing are actually been doing a lot of PR themselves, and they just haven't been calling it that.
Yeah, right. We first came in contact back in 2007.
Yes.
I was just put out the new rules of marketing and PR, and you were actually teaching many of those ideas. And it seemed like the whole world was against us. How could you kind of be a professor, teach these ideas, yet they were so controversial?
Well, David, I've believed since really way back into the 80s that media relations should not be the focal point for public relations, that we should be talking directly to our audiences. I'm a disciple of a guy named Pat Jackson, who some people will remember and some people won't. He's been gone about 10 years, but he believed this as well. And when I read your book, and I said, here's a guy who's even taking traditional tools of media relations, putting them online and going directly to audiences to build that connection and that trust, and it just resonated with me immediately.
But what about like the others in the university? Because you were teaching things at the time that were pretty radical. I mean, they're still in many ways a little radical, but at that time they were like way out there. And obviously you were doing it. So did you just say, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead, or did you have to really sell the idea of doing this?
Well, first of all, there's a wonderful freedom that comes with being a tenured professor.
Ah, there you
is
go.
You get to do what you want to do, and I live in a traditional school of journalism where my colleagues are supportive of us, but they also pretty much leave us alone. So it really didn't affect that side, but
okay.
They they let us run with it, and my colleagues who are largely integrated marketing proponents understood the value of it, and now I think you'll find some aspect of your book of New Rules of Marketing and PR being used in 3 or 4, maybe 5 of our classes.
Oh, great! That's awesome. Yeah, and I've got a list of 300-400 universities that use it that I know of. Mm-hmm. So it's come a long way from one university, Kent State, to a whole bunch. So where are we now? What's the state, not just at your university, but what's the state of public relations and communications education? I mean, what I is that there are tons of universities that are really getting this new world of online. There are many, many, many other ones that are still teaching how to write a press release. I mean, not that the fundamentals are still important, but that's all they teach you: how to write a press release, how to pitch, how to do an EdCal, and that's about it. They're not teaching the online stuff.
I think we've seen more and more universities understanding the importance of the digital world, and they're getting up to speed on it. Part of the problem you run into is there's folks my age, and I'm pushing 60, who they're tenured profs and they don't want to relearn these things.
Right.
Well, we have to.
Right.
I came out of the business world. I had to relearn everything as I was coming on through. That, I think, is happening. The other thing that I don't see happening, and what troubles me, I think we're getting the storytelling and the digital stuff is rolling along more slowly than it should. What I don't see happening, and this came to me here at Content Marketing World, is that we're not really reaching across, getting out of the silos and getting in with the marketing people, getting in with folks who focus on customer service, folks who focus on more of the traditional marketing things, and saying, the digital world has made this one. And some of my colleagues are going to be very surprised to hear me say that if they see this on video.
Yeah.
But I really came to the epiphany here over the last couple of days at this conference that all of these people are together to do the same thing, and that's to tell these stories, to create the relationships that make their clients and their companies successful.
Right. I have 2 final questions, both relating to your advice. What would be your advice to people who are considering a program, going to a university, a program, either as an undergraduate or as a graduate student? What should they be looking for in a program that will teach them the sort of the modern ways, as well as give them a background in traditional?
You have to do a lot of research. It's to see what kinds of courses are being offered, number one, and then who's teaching them. What's their background and where have they come from? Is there a multi media discipline happening there. I also tell students, check out and see what people are saying about these programs online. See what involvement the faculty and the folks involved have in the blogosphere and Twitter and places like that.
And the final question, actually I got two more questions. The final question, real question, is I wonder what would be the advice to current students, maybe a year out from graduating, for landing that first job, or if they're graduate students, maybe landing the next job. How do they find something? What are the employers looking for?
I give the same advice here as I gave them 5 years ago. Become content creators, and that's what this whole conference that we're at here is focused on. It's get a blog, do some video, do some writing, put your work, your thoughts, your ideas, and your personality online. From there, you begin to prospect. You do the usual networking, but don't send me your resume, send me your URL. And that's what I find the most successful students are doing, is they're out ahead of this, and they're showing employers that they can do things that, frankly, often the employers can't do.
Right.
Because their mind is open to it.
Absolutely. Cool. And tell me about your first Grateful Dead concert.
My first, this is crazy.
You didn't know this question
was
was
coming.
It was
actually my first and only Grateful Dead concert.
Okay.
And it was about 3 or 4 hours after the Super Bowl in 1979. I'm a diehard Steelers fan, and it's considered the greatest Super Bowl ever. We went from our home and our party. I didn't drive, by the way, but I was quite under the weather, shall we say, after that party.
Yeah.
And I spent 4 hours at the Masonic Auditorium in Detroit seeing the Grateful Dead. So
awesome.
It was one party and day.
Well, and my first Grateful Dead concert was January of 1979 as well. So how about that? Our first show the same month, however many years ago was that, 30-something years.
And I still remember saying, what's the deal with 2 drummers?
Yeah, right. What's going on here? Thanks, Bill. It was great to talk to you.
Good to talk to you, Dave.